Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial what we are going to do is that we are basically going to combine all the activities together on a single activity. So basically we are having a single activity on which we are going to provide link to each and every activity. So if we go to the app folder and if we go to the Java folder, as you could see, these are the activities which we have. So basically have like 4 to 5 activities, and what we have done is that we have an activity which is called as the navigation activity, which is nothing but this activity which basically allows us to switch through the multiple activities. But for the sake of convenience, what we did is that we have actually created one more activity on our navigation. So this was the one we are talking about, and now what we are going to do here is that we are going to add, let's say, links to various activities through these buttons right here. So if we switch to the content navigation, as you could see, these are the buttons which we have designed. Now the only thing which we need to do is that we need to link all these activities with the help of these buttons. Now if you have tried to run this application on your emulator, and if you have selected this thing, you might have noticed that your application crashes, and that is because we have not yet added anything to the on clicks of this button. So you could do it either in two ways. So the first way would be like adding an action listener to these buttons, but it is a little bit difficult to do so, and a comparatively easy approach to do it is that you simply select a particular button, go to properties and select a property which is called as on click. So if we scroll down a little bit, we will be able to find a property which is called as on click. So as you could see, to the on click of this, we have added a method which is called as the view gallery. So what we could do is that we could change this thing to button gallery, and now the only thing which we need to do in order to handle the on click of this is that we actually need to go to the class of this activity, which is nothing but the navigation class. So if we open up navigation class, as you could see, these are the methods for the navigation. And now what we could do is that we could also add on click methods to the buttons. So we go right below the on create method, which is here, and we add in the methods for the on click. So we type public void, and then basically we use the method which we have added in the on click of this thing. So the on click of this is nothing but button gallery. So we simply copy this thing or this method name, then we go over here, paste it, and to this we simply pass in view, and after this we simply add in what happens when we click the button. So on clicking this button, basically we want to navigate to the gallery, which is nothing but this. So in order to navigate to this activity, what we do is that we create a new intent here. So we type in intent equals new intent, and the first thing which we pass to this one is nothing but this. Then we pass in the name of the activity which we want to start. So as this is a gallery button or the view gallery button, we want to start the gallery activity. So we type gallery dot class. So basically we have created the intent. Now in order to start up the activity, we type start activity. So start activity is basically a method which allows us to start a new activity. So we type start activity and simply pass in the intent for this. So we type intent over here. So once this thing is done, what happens is that whenever we click the button or this button which says view gallery, a new intent is started, and that intent basically redirects us to this gallery activity. Now we are going to do the same thing with all the remaining 3 buttons. So we simply select the second button and we type in the method as button location. For this we are going to type in the on click as button test, and for this one we are going to type in the on click method as button contact. So now once we have these methods on the on click, we switch back to the main activity, the navigation activity, and in there we add in the methods for all the buttons. So we type in, so now once we are done with this, what we do is that in order to create a method, we simply copy this line of code and paste it over here 3 times. so that we don't have to write the code once again. Then we simply switch to this thing, and we are going to copy the method names of these, and we are going to replace these previous methods by a new name. So again, this one is for the second one, and for the third one we copy this name, and these are basically nothing but the method names. And also make sure that you copy the appropriate names, or else you are going to get an error and your application is going to crash. Okay, now once we have copied the method names, now the only thing which we need to do is that we actually need to change the second parameter in the intent, which is nothing but the name of the activity which is going to start. So for the first one it is fine because we want to actually start the gallery activity. But for the second one, what we do is that instead of gallery, as this thing is going to display locations, so we type locations.class, and make sure that you type in locations, not location, and that is because location is something different and the name of our activity is locations. And for the third one, as this is for the testimonials, we are going to type in here test.class. And for the final one, instead of gallery, as this one is for the contact, so we are going to type in contact us.class. So once everything is done, we are good to go. Now if we run this application and if we try to click any of these buttons, what is going to happen is that it is going to redirect us to a new activity depending upon which button we click. So that's basically it for this tutorial. So basically what we did is that we have provided a navigation from our own activity instead of a navigation bar, so as to understand how we could provide a navigation by using a single activity. So basically it is similar to a website. So basically, let's say this is your home page, and on the home page you have multiple buttons, and on website what we do is that we assign a link to each and every button, so that whenever we click a button we are redirected to a new link. Now as this is an Android application, instead of links, what we have is we have these intents. So intents are basically used in order to start a new activity. So basically we have used intents to start up a new activity every time a different button is clicked. So that's it for this tutorial, and I hope you guys understood how to basically provide a navigation to our application by using intents and using buttons. So you could add as many activities as you want in your application. So you simply need to create a button or a collection of buttons. Now in order to actually handle the click event related to this button, you could either use what you call it as action listener for the button, or instead of using action listener, much more easier method is basically to use an on click method of a button. So we simply select the button, go to properties, go to on click, and add an on click method to this button. Now in order to handle it, you simply switch to the class which is associated with this activity, and then finally you simply create the methods for each of these buttons. So when we run this application, it should work fine. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.